Welcome to the podcast Academic Afterlife. Today we are joined by Maria Machado, Ph.D. with a background of biology, and she will tell us more about how it is to work as a scientific writer. So Maria, hi.
Hi.
I have some questions because was interested to learn more about what does a scientific writer do. Can you tell me what is your background a bit more specifically?
So I did a PhD in vascular physiology and I did postdoc. So I was in research in academia for a while. And then I wanted to get out of the lab because being in a lab with little mice on your own is annoying after a while. They don't talk back and, very little social interaction. Um, So I wanted to do something different and I wanted to be able to do it from home. So working remotely, working on my own time, because it was something that I was trying to do during lockdown, the first COVID lockdown. So that's what motivated me to start editing papers, I started by editing papers for language and tone and clarity, and then it just evolved from there because I couldn't keep my comments to language alone. So I always delved into content and what people could do to improve. So that's what I started to do, and that's what I find I like the best to
Okay.
do that
So,
to people's content.
okay. So during your academic career, you of course published some papers and you realized you really like revising and you like this process of going, commenting on the text. But when you were starting your PhD, was this your idea or that you will do this one day or just it happened, occur like, how would I say, circumstances changed and then you just decided to get into this?
No, I liked when I started my PhD. I thought I wanted to be in research in academia for a while, as a career, and then have my own group, have my own research group, and all of those things. But with time, that started to not be the case because I started to understand that my work-life balance was really bad whenever I was in academia. So having the chance to work in my own terms and the time that I want to is much better for me.
Okay, yeah, I agree that that sounds very good for especially regarding like the level of stress that you can sort of regulate yourself in this case, right? So
Yes,
you can
because
choose how big is your workload on a
yeah,
specific day, on a specific week. You can take some jobs and you don't have to take some others, right?
yes.
Yeah, that's nice. So for whom would you recommend this kind of job? So let's say I'm a young PhD student, also, I don't know, in chemistry, and I'm a bit unsure what I can do later, but I know I don't want to be in the lab anymore. What kind of, let's say, characteristics does a person need to have to be good at your job?
So first you have to like writing, and you have to have some experience with it. So with language and having the skill to understand what it is that you can do to improve a text. So for me, it was a lot of uh, simplifying and clarifying. So the best advice I got from my PhD supervisor when I was starting out was keep it simple, and it was the best advice I ever had because people don't want to read loads and figure out that you're very brainy. No, they want to understand what it is that you're telling them. So yeah, just keep it to the simplest possible idea, explain it well, and leave it at that, and people will understand.
Okay. Interesting. I don't think I would be fit for this job in that case. I'm more of a person who likes to talk than to write that much, but I'm sure there's a lot of PhD students out there who would find themselves in the description. Can you tell me a bit more about your typical day? So since you said you are a freelancer, you don't have, I mean, maybe you have working hours from 9 to 5 and you don't read emails at 5:01, or I don't know. How does it look like?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that for me. So, but you can if you want to. It's very flexible. Uh, However, it is that you want to play it. So for me, I try to work um, very focused 4 or 5 hours a day. It depends on when I start. It depends on what I have to do before. Sometimes it depends on the cat. I don't know. It just depends. I try to go out for lunch with my mum, so that's something that I work around. Um, and yeah, I think it heavily depends on what it is that I try to do. But I find that working 4 or 5 hours a day, really focused, is best for what it is that I do, because you don't want to be looking at a text for longer than that. It just becomes blurry, and then you don't understand what it is that you're talking about. So I read scientific papers, and then I read other things because to just distract myself from all of the scientific reading. But that's good for me because I always loved reading. It was one of the things I excel at is reading, and it always has been. So I like that. But but whenever you were saying that you wouldn't see that as a job for you because you like talking, I don't particularly like talking to people or being in podcasts or the sound of my own voice, but apparently I have done that now because people ask that of me. So it doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck doing the same thing for years on end. It evolves, it organically evolves, but you can direct it as well if you want. Right, so
Yes.
I directed it towards content review because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I started reading more about and researching and figuring out contacts and networking.
Okay. So what do you mean by content review? Is that?
So I started freelancing for a company where I do um, pre-submission peer review. So
Mhm.
people get their papers to me before they submit it to the journal. They tell me what journal they want to submit it to. I check guidelines and I check uh, if the language is okay, and I check if the content is okay. If they have all of the things, the checklist that they should be abiding by. If they've done all the controls that they should have done, if they describe it properly. So that's what I started to do. And because I started to do that, I started to think about that and what is the best way to do that and what is the current landscape that we have. So then I started collaborating with another company that focuses on interaction between peer reviewers and publishers. So it just from one interest that you can then network and find a whole different host of people that always also share the same interests, but from
Mhm.
different perspectives, and that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I can say from the publishing experience that I have, I know that the lists where you need to check all these different checkpoints can be quite extensive.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the journal, of course, but I would say the more known the journal is, the longer this list is. So
Mm-hmm.
it can really be useful to have someone who has a lot of experience in that, because then it's all sort of in the back of your head, and you can, you can already point things out and check things out, when for me maybe it's the first time that I'm applying to or like trying to publish there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can really see how people can use that skill. Yeah. So can I ask you a bit more? You mentioned some companies. So how did you, how would I say, get the people to work with you, in the sense of how did you reach out to your clients? How did you did you just email random universities and ask, hey, do you need me to check your text? Or like, how does this work? Asking you this because I'm wondering, like, if someone would want to start this job, how do they, like, where do they start? Is there some kind of a playbook they can read with, or?
So it's good to always research first, right? So research the kinds of services that companies offer out there. Figure out if you want to start by working with one of them, because then you'll learn a lot. And then if you want to go on your own, then just get to be well known and get your name recognized in the circle before you set out to do any of that. So it's good because I was doing peer review and publishing. I went through a list of uh, international associations that deal with that and figured out what, if they have conferences, if I could attend, what are the issues that they're facing, what is going on with that particular professional world. That's how I got to interact with people that also delve within that sea of knowledge. So then you can connect with them via email, you can connect with them via LinkedIn, you can go to the website of the company and email them. You can do all of those things. It's more to do with what it is that you think you can contribute. Right? If you
Okay,
have a
so you have
specific
to.
idea of what it is that you want to do or what it is that you can contribute, then it's
That
better.
means you. Sorry, I wanted to say you also have to believe in yourself and your abilities. That, like, you need to sort of sell yourself to people, right? To say I am able to do this, and you surely need my skills, right? So it
It's not
has to do with
surely if
confidence.
my skills is I am able to do this, and maybe you could use it. Yes.
Okay. So what would you say are the top three skills important for this job? So one of those could be you have to like reading, I suppose, but maybe you can phrase it a bit better or than me.
Um, well, you'd have to at least don't mind reading. Uh, you have to have a knack for language. You have to like writing. Uh, and you need to have in the back of your head a knowledge of what it is that you're talking about. So for for me, it helps that I've done research before and I've done the experiments and I had to think about the design of the experiments, right? But that's not all I think about. It also helps that I worked for a journal before, that I've been in that part of the publishing industry to learn more about it. So it to have a view of different things will help you in the way that you perceive and the way that you guide other people, and probably also it helps if you like guiding other people.
Hmm. Okay. So, and maybe a last question I have for you would be, yeah, basically, what's your advice for young PhD looking for their next step in the either industry or publishing or yeah, anything that is not in academia?
So there's lots of different options out there, and you can learn a lot. Don't be afraid to just apply for things. Don't be afraid to research what it is that you like to do and what kind of skills you have and how these rank amongst the industries that you want to get into. So the best quality I think most PhD students have, and most people that finished a PhD have, is that they can manage themselves quite well, manage their own time, uh, and be aware of multitasking and getting different projects to completion. So those are, and mostly critical thinking. Whenever you're doing something, you need to be very meta and thinking about what it is that you're doing and how you could do it better. So constantly keep improving and constantly keep learning. That's basically my advice.
Okay, well, thank you, Maria, for this short insight in how it is to be a scientific writer. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you? I don't know what kind of context can you leave us with?
Uh, through my LinkedIn, I think that I'm connected to you through my blog, through email. They can reach out, and I will
Okay,
definitely answer back.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much again for answering the questions. Hopefully, maybe someone of the viewers reaches out to you. I would like to end our recording and hopefully see you again for a longer episode. Bye.
Bye.